The book, The Future is Asian, obviously the title. And I'm just curious, kind of, you alluded to this, but the nationalistic identity kind of first, or the Asian identity first, does that change over time? And what's required to sort of be Asian, feel Asian, and create this Asian-centric network?
I don't expect Asians to dissolve their national identity any more than you would expect Europeans to. And of course, Asia is far more diverse than almost any other region of the world. And of course, the linguistic and cultural and national, sort of identities are vast and deep, and they are worlds unto themselves, as we were saying earlier. So, if there is a common Asian identity, it may be functional. It could have some cultural attributes, but the last time at which, it was 100 years ago, in the anti-colonial movements, there was a sense that, and this was the expression used at the time, Asia is one. But it didn't mean that we have a homogenous, kind of nature. Of course not. It meant that we need to be united against colonial forces, and that worked. Today, there is definitely an Asian pride in the sense that even among national rivals, there can be this sympathy and this empathy and this sense of collaboration, teamwork. Countries can jointly host Olympic Games, to take a simple example. Or if Asian countries or competitors are there in a global talent competition, you'll get a bit of this. Let's look at it not at that symbolic level, but just Asians traveling within Asia. And I think that's, again, because it's voluntary, let's look at those numbers. Asians travel and cohabitate or move between Asian countries at triple the rate that Asians move outside of Asia. That tells you something. That means that Filipinos and Indians and Chinese and Kazakhs and Indonesians and Vietnamese are saying, hey, let's go discover each other's countries as tourists, as business travelers, students. That's people saying, hey, I'm an Asian, I'm going to go explore Asia, right? And all of the Asians who live in the West, that's like residual. Right. Of course, they're talented people, by and large, but think about it that way. That's how much Asians have come around to the idea that, hey, Asia is their backyard and their playground. And I think that's, again, remarkable progress.
No, that is fascinating. I mean, I think from the West looking in, obviously, at least recently, which, as you chatted about, kind of this very rapid rise of China, and China really signifying Asia, I think, to a lot of the West. Right. Maybe at the beginning, we can chat about kind of how important is China both economically and geopolitically to the region, and what will that look like sort of 10 years from now?
Right. So first, I think the historical context is really important. A lot of people view China's rise as signifying a new pole of global power that represents Asia and that is a direct peer competitor to the United States and is a potential replacement to the United States as a global hegemon. Those three propositions are largely false in some ways. First of all, the United States at the end of World War II was in a really unique situation. It represented 50% of global GDP. Today, even with China at full strength, it represents 15% of global GDP. So we have to remember that the world is truly multipolar. There is not one power that is simply going to replace America. The world is going to be multipolar with North America, Europe, and Asia as the principal economic zones of the world, more or less in perpetuity. 10 years from now, that's very obviously still the case. Within Asia, China is the most powerful state by far. It's the largest economy as well by far. But it's unlike other regions of the world. It's not the only game in town. Asia is so much bigger than other regions of the world, demographically and economically, and culturally diverse, that it has to be thought of as multipolar internally. So Japan still very much matters. India matters more and more. China is there. Australia is part of the broader Asian system. Russia is part of the Asian system, and Korea and so forth. So think of Asia as a world unto itself, and being multipolar with its own economic and obviously geopolitical dynamics, where yes, China is number one, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a number 2, 3, 4, or 5 that aren't important and whose relations with each other and with China don't shape its behavior. And all of that gets missed when we talk about China as representing all of Asia and being the kind of embodiment of Asia.